And like you could definitely add, cargo netting or a stack of barrels to a warehouse. But if you're like in the center of the floor, there's an embedded magic great sort of sling that only my character can draw forth. That's a hard no.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Dave.
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. Looks like we're back with another Nerdarchy Way video. What are we talking about this time?
Today we're going to be talking about player agency as how to D&D the Nerdarchy way. It is one of the three pillars of how we kind of game master or dungeon master our games.
So we've got, obviously player agency is a cornerstone. We've got improv or reactionary, as well as combat light games.
So what do we mean by player agency?
Player agency is where the players get to control aspects of what's going on within the game. So whether it be something as small a detail as what is a character's name that you're talking to, what race are they, to, what do you encounter in a dungeon?
Yeah, typically, as you kind of stated, is you make your character, and then all of your agency is in the choices that you make for your character. Generally, you do not get to make decisions based on the setting and the world. That is the purview of the dungeon master.
But some DMs like to offer those kind of things up there. And it's not due to laziness or, unpreparedness. It's to try to incorporate options that the players are interested in and allow them to kind of flavor and pepper the world with the things that they want.
Yeah, player agency could be anywhere from, they arrive at a town or city and you ask one of the players, or all the players, have you been here before? If one of them says yes, and, they've already, made it clear they want to go to the tavern, I go, great, you've been in here before. What was your favorite tavern? And I let them make up the tavern, the name, maybe some of the details of it, and they could do that. Or it could be, player agency could be, you describe a room that a combat encounter is taking place, and maybe it takes place in a warehouse, and they ask for a specific thing. Is there cargo netting holding things up in the rafters? Is there a stack of barrels? And yet these are things you haven't described. And as the dungeon master, you're like, oh, I want to see where this goes. And you go, yes, there's absolutely a cargo net, or there are a stack of barrels, and so then the player can try and do the cool thing they want it to do.
And this allows for, deeper immersion into the game. But another thing it allows for is when you offer player agency to them, they can add elements of something that you might not have thought of that they're interested in.
Do you think that all players have to, exhibit player agency throughout the game?
So I really feel that is one of those things that really matters of how much the player feels comfortable doing it. Case in point, I tend to do, if I'm going to ask it of everybody, I want them to do it in between sessions so they have some time to prepare, because not everybody is able to do it right on the spot. Robin in our Those Bastards game put us in front of 4 mirrors and said, I want you each to describe what you see from this particular vantage point. And they broke down what our characters would look at from, here's something you want, here's something that you expect, so on and so forth. And then we had time to prepare. Had we had to do all of that on the spot, it might have been more than some people were prepared to handle. So I really feel during session, while it's an improv scenario, it should only be for those who are interested and ready to volunteer.
Yeah, I will generally ask for player agency, and I generally have the caveat of, or I can come up with something if you like. Mm-hmm. I've also had players go somewhere in between, and they're like, adjective animal when I asked them about a tavern. And I think that's how we got the blue hyena. And then I kind of went into like, hey, this is why it's the blue hyena. And, they have this giant hyena that's stuffed and dyed blue. And, and then, the player like added the barkeep or something along those lines. But it's always to the player's comfort. If you're going to run this style game, you should give them a heads up and be like, hey, occasionally I'll ask for details about the world. This way they're not caught off guard.
So how do players know, like, to what kind of level they can kind of add or create things in a world.
Well, this is definitely in your session 0 when you're explaining the style of game you want to run. This would be a good point to let people know. It's like, hey, at certain points, I will be asking for player agency, like I just kind of stated, but then to take it a step further and be like, hey, this is what I mean by that. And like, you could definitely add, cargo netting or a stack of barrels to a warehouse. But if you're like in the center of the floor, there's an embedded magic great sort of sling that only my character can draw forth. That's a hard no.
I mean, I did have a time where I was still new to what player agency was as a GM, and I threw it out there, and one of the players was like, "There's a big box of treasure." And like, I was so taken off guard by that kind of response that like, no, like it was pretty bad. My reaction. You stepped in and be like, oh, there's a monster, and you wound up fighting some kind of demon. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, you had described this room that I think we followed like a blood runoff, a charnel runoff from like a butcher house or slaughterhouse. And the one player did that, and then you were kind of letting us put things in. So I was like, oh, yeah, there's a runnel that has a particular pattern. And, because we had just had a fight in that place, I think the blood is running down, and then it kind of gets there and fills the pattern as we enter the chamber, and I might have been like, yeah, there's a treasure chest there. But as the blood all connects, fills this sigil that is formed, a demon appears, that's kind of like an extreme case of player agency. And Ted was like, all right, I'll pull a demon out of the book and let you fight for this treasure chest. But that might be a hard no, or it might be, oh yeah, there's a treasure chest. And, and then the player figures out it's a mimic real quick when he gets stuck to it and punched in the face.
But when you're like, this was still, this is my first example of, really offering it up to my players. And I went way broader, so it was still new to me. So as I've developed my, improvisational styles, when somebody does ask for treasure, that is a thing of, is it legitimately treasure? Is it a mimic? Is there something else going on?
Would it make sense for it to be here?
Yeah. So you have to develop this kind of stuff, and like the 3 pillars of our Nerdarchy way, the improving mixed with player agency does have to work hand in hand, because you have to be reactionary as a GM when you're offering up player agency to your party, because if you can't react to what they're saying, you have to know what they're going to say first, or it doesn't work. So it's something that, we've developed. I very much enjoy the style, and going down this road really does offer up, hey, I'm going to give you what you want, because it's literally the words coming out of your own mouth.
Yeah, it should be used as a way to enhance the details of your world, maybe fill out some areas of the world that you haven't filled out. Yeah, I like leaving blank spots just for that reason, so that the players can fill out, something that they would like to see in the world, and doesn't necessarily directly impact them right now, but it becomes backdrop, backstory, just details to enrich your campaign setting, especially if you're running like homebrew, and as well as give your players more buy-in, because they're like, oh, I got to make that. This is based off of things that I've created, and just because you give them player agency doesn't mean it's got to be 100% how they perceive it, right? This is my old, it's, you encounter an NPC and you let them fill in the details, and it's my old friend. But what they don't know, that their old friend has actually been spying on them their whole life, and it's not actually their old friend. What they, they can tell you and fill in the agency as they perceived it. Mm-hmm. Maybe not quite how it is.
Yes, that is the key with it, and that's probably the biggest takeaway is what the player says is always from that perspective, and once you interact with and find all the story behind it, it might not always be the exact same story from both sides.
Yeah, so basically, letting players have agency. I would say start with baby steps if it's completely new to you. Introduce it slowly, and then you can go as broad as you want, as you for whatever's comfortable for you as the dungeon master and for your group as well.
And just make sure that you let the players know. Don't just spring it on them as I did. That this is going to be an option within the game, even if you have to have like a quick 10-minute. In between sessions of, hey guys, girls, this is what I'm looking to do. So is this something that you guys want, or is this something not? Hey, you like these videos, others like it, as well as all the awesome content over on nerdarchy.com? Why not come check us out over on Patreon and support us there?
Articles like thrust player agency on your players with questions to engage.
Or you can support us by visiting the Nerdarchy partner page. Grab products with discounts ranging from 20 to 25% off. Nerdarchy is proud to count a variety of companies as partners. Here you'll find all our current partners along with special offers and deals they've created for us to share with you. Some of our partners offer affiliate programs, and using these links may result in a small commission for us.
Let us know down in the comments below what kind of player agency you offer up in your games. Are you for it? Are you against it? Maybe you have a favorite story you would like to tell and share with the Nerdarchy community.
While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go ahead and click on that notification bell. You know the drill.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we drop new videos here on the channel, so come on back. Check this card up here for how to play D&D the Nerdarchy way, improv, and reactionary GMing.
So until next time, stay nerdy.